Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. It's been a while, but you know how it is. But this is going to be the start of a very, very long series of videos. Probably at least 4 or 5, probably longer than Cuphead, only because this thing's been years in the making, and I've just finally now gotten around to doing it. So, we're not going to call this a restoration, because we're not putting this arcade back to what it originally was. We'll kind of explain why as we go by. But about 2 years ago, a little more than 2 years ago, I picked up a Sega Megalo. I think it's a Megalo 2, I'm not 100% sure on that, but originally it was a Star Wars Trilogy. Had the big flight joystick on the middle, but it also had like a 50-inch projection television on it. This was in a barn that was literally falling over. It was in pieces and shambles. The barn was probably, I don't even know if it's still standing today, that's how bad this thing was. But we received a call, hey, there's some games in it, and we got there. There wasn't much there. There was a couple of skee-ball machines, a couple, you know, I think there was a Big Blue that was kind of beat up. But what caught my eye was this Star Wars Trilogy. And the cool thing was the guy's like, yeah, you know, whatever you don't want, leave here. So I was able to just buy the bench seat and basically the arcade cabinet and leave the big projection monitor there. The reason why I left it there is he did tell me it was not working when it was put there years ago. And this thing was rough. There was an actual mouse in this cabinet. So a lot of times you'll pick up arcades that are pinballs and you see rat marks or rat teeth marks in the manuals, things like that. This had an actual rat in it, and when we moved it, it took off. So long story short, gross cabinet when we picked it up, get it back to the arcade, and it sat for going on 2 years now. So recently I decided that I want to, have a really solid PS4 / newer cabinet for Flippin' Great Pinball, and we have a Rec Room cabinet. It's been great, but it's a little smaller than what I want. Currently it has a 32-inch monitor. We're actually on this going to be using a 42-inch commercial plasma, which does 15K up to 1080i. So it'll be perfect for a PlayStation 4 and 720p. We can plug arcade boards into it. We can do anything we want with it. The idea of this is we want the arcade to be modular and upgradable going forward. So if we want to get rid of the plasma and put an LED or an LCD monitor on it eventually, we can do that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just winging this. There's no script. I'm kind of just explaining the story, and we'll kind of post some pictures as we go. But basically what I'm going to do here is go ahead and post some pictures off my Instagram, because again, this is about 2 years ago that we picked this thing up. Alright, so here it is. As we got it, as you can see, it's really disgusting. It's dirty. It still has all the Star Wars pictures on it, or stickers and things like that on it. This is pretty much where it sat for a while. Didn't really do much with it. Besides move it to my arcade shop, and it's massive. So over time, I did start taking it apart. You can see there's some stickers on the side panels. There's still a sticker to this day on the back of the seat. We got to pull that off. What's weird about this cabinet is, originally I thought it was a Star Wars, which technically it is, but from Sega it was actually another like jet ski related game, which is why it's like this weird bluish green color. So it was factory converted by Sega to Star Wars, and now we're gonna not factory converted, but we're going to convert it to something more that we can actually use it for. But here is another couple of pictures. This is me when I first took it apart and actually pressure washed it. Brought it up to FGP a while ago and actually sprayed it down to get some of this rat, whatever off of it and dirt and things like that. Here you can see I cut the panel. On Star Wars there's a big joystick that kind of sits on the middle. Well, obviously we can't have that in the way you'd hit your hand on it when you're playing fighting games, so I went ahead and cut that off. So it was more flat, so we can start drilling the holes and doing things like that. But basically, again, here's the panel kind of after we cut it off. Here is how it cleaned up. Parts of it were actually really clean. So this piece is a big plastic bezel that kind of sits in the back of the machine, and then there's a piece of steel and then a piece of plexi over that steel where the instructions normally go. But here's that kind of washed up and cleaned up. And then from here, it sat in my current shop for almost a year. So it's been sitting there for a while. So again, I do apologize. I didn't take any video of when I started this process. I forgot my camera. Got this done in a day. But what we are going to do now is we're going to go ahead and pick up from where I did remember to bring my camera, which is where we've gone ahead and already cut the holes into the actual control panel. Took a while. I don't have the best tools in the world. But we got those holes cut for that, and then today's where we're going to start working on the actual control panel and the rest of the art. So let's jump into it. Alright guys, so we are back in the shop, and as you can see, yet again, it's full. We're still working on a bunch of stuff. Got some pins over here, but back to the focus of this video here is the Megalo. So it's very, very dirty right now. It's nowhere near being done, but it is a work in progress. I do want to show you, kind of picking up from the story time I just gave you guys, where we are with it. Here's a control panel. As you can see, I've got it set up for 6 buttons for each person. It's player 1, player 2. Obviously, this middle part is where the original Star Wars stick kind of sat. We do have to fix that, but basically what we are going to do today is I have a piece of polystyrene that we're going to put down as kind of like a control panel overlay, and then this is actually 1/4 inch thick plexiglass or acrylic. So once the polystyrene is down, we're going to put our art on player 1 and player 2. We're going to have some additional art made here for player 1 start, player 2 start. Probably going to put a touchpad button as well. And then once that's done and the art, we're going to have the acrylic over top of that, and then we'll have that solid control panel with all sandwall parts and everything. It does have a coin door that we're going to put there. This whole thing needs to be cleaned up. I'm actually going to buy some rubber floor mats and cut them up to fit. Originally there was some rubber here, so we're going to put that back. Again, it'll get all painted up. We'll clean that steel. The side panels, in case you're wondering, are over here. Do have them. I did get all of the Star Wars artwork off of it. They do need to be cleaned up and repainted as well, so we'll do all of that. Did kind of want to show you what we went through last time we were here, and sadly I didn't film because I forgot my camera, but I don't have the best tools, so all of these are bits that went into drilling all of these holes. So this is actually thicker than I thought it was. I thought it was going to be thinner than it is, but it's about I think 1/8 of an inch maybe thick solid steel. So my drill and my Dremel got a workout earlier this week. So this hole is originally where the start button was, I think, and this was the attack or whatever on the Star Wars game. So those won't be used, but those will be covered by the polystyrene and the acrylic. So what we're going to do today is these side panels are not permanently on right now. We need to drill 2 holes here and countersink those and put M3 nuts on there to hold those, so this steel panel can fit over it and these will be secure. And then we are going to try to cut that polystyrene sheet, get all the holes in the joystick, everything kind of milled out on that, and then hopefully by the end of the day we'll have a cool little shot of the polystyrene with everything covered up and the buttons. So let's get started by pulling this off and drilling these and mounting these side panels. A lot of work ahead of us, but it'll be pretty cool when it's done. Alright, so we have the main metal panel off and that back panel off. You can see how dirty it is from grinding all that steel out, but we'll clean it but after we're done drilling. So you can see originally there were 2 holes here, one here and one here, that kind of hold these on, but they don't really go anywhere into the steel. So I'm actually going to drill a new hole probably towards the center here. Put this pipe down there, probably like here and here, and I want to try to get it to actually sink into the metal, so we can go ahead and countersink these M3 screws in here and get them on. So I'm going to start by drilling those holes and countersinking those so they fit in properly. Alright, so I had a little bit of a change of plans. There actually wasn't enough on the shelf underneath this for it to drill through the top, so just putting one here in the front will work pretty well. So what I've done is I've drilled a hole in both the cover as well as the plastic behind it. So this will now line up, you can see there, and I've countersunk this. You can see the original bluish color that it was. Originally this was the Sea-Doo game, I forget the name of it, but I'll post a picture of it here. Alright, and then basically once I countersunk it, we're going to go ahead and put the M3 bolt here, or the bolt there, and then we're just going to throw a nut on the back, and that'll actually keep this secure. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to go ahead and do this side as well, and we'll pick it up after that. So it actually turns out we lucked out. I was able to actually find, I didn't even notice this until I got a different angle of them. So this is on me for being stupid and not seeing this, but there's actually some internal mounts here. So it looks like an M5 screw. This is just one I had from one of my Naomi, so I'll have to buy some more at Ace tomorrow, but we don't need to do all this craziness, so I'll just go ahead and patch that up and put it back. But these are all going to be secure from the inside now, so that saves us a bunch of time. So we are now going to go ahead and work on the top panel with polystyrene. So I'm an idiot for not seeing that, but also that's pretty sweet. Saves us some time. Alright, so here is our roll of polystyrene sheeting. Got off of eBay. It's really just like it's almost like a super thick laminate that's not sticky, but it's just really just a thin sheet of plastic. But we're going to use this as an overlay. So we're going to go ahead and take the metal panel here that will be on the top, and we're going to go ahead and put it on top of this and trace it out, and then cut it, and then start working on the holes. Alright, so the panel's laid out. As you can see, we got to trim about 3/4 of an inch off that side, a couple inches off the front here, but everything's pretty much lined up. So we're going to go ahead and trace this outer piece, and then we're going to cut it as straight as we can. And then we'll work on the inner holes and the sticks and all that stuff. Let's get to cutting. Alright, so the laminate is now trimmed up to the sides. Probably going to trim a little bit more off, but you can see here I kind of just
eyeballed it. Not going to be perfect, just get an idea there. So we're going to go ahead and tape this on and start cutting our buttonholes to make sure everything's sized up, and then we can kind of see from the back what we need to trim off. So we'll go ahead and get this taped up, start trimming off the rest. Alright, so we have everything taped up. You can see here on this side it's not much, but we're going to trim that little piece off of there. And in the back here we got about 1/4 of an inch we're going to trim off. So we're just going to go ahead and trim that up real quick. And then the fun part, I guess, starts. Alright, so we have 2 holes cut, and yeah, that's really super crude. I don't have my X-Acto knife here, but we're using our blade. This little overlay is fine. We're actually going to have a piece of Megalo art that goes over this. So these holes really do not need to be perfect. They just need to have a hole in it so the button can go through. So basically, cut the hole through the panel, and the button's kind of go in like that, and then everything's covered up. And again, once the Megalo art's on here and this is pulled tight, you won't see these little things like that. But I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting these out, the joystick out, and then also this side, and then we'll go ahead and try to mount the sticks. This way we can kind of get a mock-up of what it is that we're going to be seeing once this plexiglass is on there. So I'm going to keep at it, and we'll pick it up once they're all cut out and mounted. Alright, we have our player 1 and player 2 buttons done. I went ahead and put these 6 in here just to kind of get an idea. But now what I'm going to do is go ahead and flip this over, kind of temporarily mount the joysticks. This way we can take this home and put the art over top of it and get it finished up. But I'm going to go ahead and flip this over and we'll pick it up once the sticks are mounted. Alright, so we have all the buttons and sticks kind of temporarily mounted. These are not actual Sandwell sticks, they're just some like bootleg ones I had from something laying around. So these are just kind of there for mock-up. But as you can see, everything fits there pretty well. So that's probably going to do it for tonight here up at the shop. I'm going to take this home and work on the Megalo art. So we'll probably see a little bit more here after this before we wrap this video up. But here we go. A lot of work still to do, but we're getting there. Alright, so we have pretty much everything done. This is the art that Jared made for me. It's modeled off the actual Megalo art. Not sure where he got it, but thank you for that. So I went ahead and I traced the templates out, cut everything, and here's where we are with it today. So it's not perfect. I do still have to countersink the joystick mounts. There's 4 here. I had them about here, but if I mount them through the plexi like I originally wanted to, we're going to go through this word. That's not the end of the world. I just don't really want to do that. So I'm either going to re-drill them this way, so we have like 2 here, or we're going to go ahead and just kind of countersink the metal and mount them that way. This way we can just go over it. But basically what we have left to do is cover this whole thing with that 1/4 inch plexi, drill our 4 holes here, and then this panel will come all the way apart, be painted up, and there is, on the original Megalo, there's a sticker here that says like Sega Megalo or something like that. We're going to try to find that art and put that on there. If not, we'll just leave it white because whatever. Not a big deal. But this wraps up part 1 of the what seems to be never-ending Megalo saga. So thank you dudes for tuning in. Catch you next time.